Sorry, I was just saying maybe
Perfect.
if you go like, you say 1, 2, and then Mike goes 3, 4, I say 5, 6.
Sure.
Try to say it like continuously.
In beat, yeah.
Yeah.
1, 2.
3, 4.
5, 6. Should we try it again?
Mine's
Try it
like-
again.
No, that's enough. We're
No,
way too early.
good enough.
Pretty much
Good enough.
experts.
Yeah, we
welcome,
much, okay.
welcome back to Pretty Much Experts. I'm Robert John. This is my brother Mike,
Hello.
and my other brother Skylar.
Welcome back, everybody.
And we miss you guys. This show is fucking fun as shit to do every week, and here we go.
Mhm.
Episode like 15 now. Bangers.
I think so.
Something
just-
like that.
We're getting
We're
to
in
them.
the teens.
Getting to
Yeah.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking knocking them out.
Before we
Mhm.
get to the topic at hand, Skylar, your idol died today. Do you have any words?
No words. No words. No, just thanks Stan Lee for making my childhood as awesome as it was, and I still watch fucking Marvel movies all the time. So it was a bummer today when I found out that Stan Lee passed away at 95.
But that's a good age to go out. Like, you don't feel bad for
95.
someone that dies at
No.
95. He's not Paul Walker.
I'm just gonna no,
Mhm.
but I wasn't sad about that.
No,
anyways.
but that guy like had a lot ahead of him. Stan Lee's 95 years old, created a
Paul
Marvel
Walker had at
universe.
least another.
He had a good run.
2
Paul
sequels left
Walker
in
had
him.
at least like 10 more Fast and the Furious.
Oh,
ahead
at
of
least 10 more Fast and Furiouses. Like, that was a little bit more of a heartbreaker. Stan Lee going at 95. Well done. We salute
Yeah.
you, Stan Lee.
him. Yeah.
So are we
this one's for you,
thankful
Stan.
that Paul Walker's dead, or
I think we're thankful
No?
both of them are dead.
Okay.
No more Fast and the
fuck.
Furious sequels.
Yeah, no more Fast and the Furious.
I'm
and
not thankful.
You had a good go.
I
Stan.
think dying at 95 is probably better than dying at 98. Like, that's 3 more years of, like, old age home.
Torture.
Yeah.
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 Apparently he
Well,
was,
do you
like,
think?
getting
I think
beat
he's
up
so
and
rich
shit,
he
too.
doesn't need them.
Yeah, but he's...
He was getting beat up.
Yeah,
in
you're
a
out of
hole.
the
I heard
loop
that-
on all the gossip, Mike. He's had a rough go. People stealing his
Oh,
goddamn
dude.
money, pretending they're donating it to charity and taking it.
Oh.
He's had stress.
Yeah, apparently his wife died
Shit.
last year, and ever since then there was an accusation of his nurse beating him up. He denied it, but it was like,
Yeah, she
think
just,
most
like,
people-
gave him that, like, you say you fucking denied it, I'm hitting you with this one more time kind of deal.
yeah. That's
And
how
his
I thought.
his daughter or something had like power of attorney for a while, and then that like unraveled and showed to be a scam. Like, it was a nightmare.
Yeah,
So
everybody just wanted
No
a piece
kidding.
of-
Holy shit.
good run, Stan Lee. Little bit of a hiccup in the back
Yeah,
nine, but
But like, what a fucking what a time to be alive when you're just like, let's make up a character.
yeah,
Like, what should we name him? God, I don't know. Fucking Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
Like,
What
go
about
with it.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Iron Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, fuck. Like, you're
And it
just
just
throwing
goes.
shit at the wall and sticking.
It all sticks.
And sticks for 75 years almost now, right? Like,
Yeah,
I think that's amazing.
Wow. Jesus. Yeah. Quite a legacy.
yeah, for
Now
sure.
you gotta, like, actually think of stuff that's cool.
And even then,
Well,
like,
everything's
people
been done,
shit on
yeah.
it before it
Oh,
even
yeah.
comes out. Like, no one wants
Oh, yeah.
anything new. They just want a remake, even though a remake comes out and they just complain about remakes.
Oh, yeah, no, the worst, my jumping off point of the comics was recently they went through this thing where, like, nobody was buying new characters, so they just passed all of the mantles onto younger, newer characters, so it was still Captain America, it was
Right.
still Thor, you know what I mean? Like, it was still Miss Marvel. They're the same
But
character.
they were
like,
young
you know,
and fertile.
It was
yeah,
like
the
a new
same
dude.
superhero, but just different character. You know what I mean? And it was just like, this is stupid. Like, I
Yeah.
want to read about Tony
Hmm.
Stark still. I don't want to read about his kid, fucking, I don't know, Boris or some shit.
Ray.
You know, like Ray Stark,
Yeah.
illegitimate child. But yeah, so that was it for me. That like also it's like they get expensive, and I got nowhere to put them.
You had a run of just downloading them online, though,
people
yeah?
who complain...
Yeah, I did too.
You had, like, the iPad
If you think that people who complain about books being better than movies are fucking annoying,
yeah.
people who complain about comic books being better than movies
Oh, you mean Skylar?
are even worse, man.
You mean
even
your
worse.
co-host on this show that has
Yeah.
nothing to
Oh,
complain, won't even
I
go
just don't
see the
talk
new
to him
Venom
about it.
movie.
I don't
he
talk to
just
him about it.
straight refuses.
I downloaded
we just-
it.
It was sick.
Pirated it.
Like, fuck
It
off.
sucked. It was bad. I fell
sick.
asleep. It was like a turd. What was it he said at the end? It was like a turd in the wind. Just like, yep, you nailed it there, Venom. Turd in the wind.
Wow.
It wasn't as bad as I thought, but it wasn't very good. I didn't think either. I thought it was...
For the handcuffs
shitty.
that were placed on the film of, like, it cannot involve Spider-Man or any legitimate backstory,
Yeah.
that was pretty decent.
Wasn't... Yeah. But maybe just don't do it then.
Well, that's not an
Can't
option.
use Spider-Man? Just don't do it.
Well, here's your, like, option, though. It's either make $700 million or not make $700 million. Like, what's the
Now,
choice?
Oh, yeah, 'cause $500
Be
million
faithful
would be
to the
enough,
comics
yeah.
and do nothing, or change a few things and make $700 million.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I
like,
don't
come
play-
on, money
It's all
talks.
about the monies.
Yeah.
Money talks.
If you
Screams
offered me
sometimes.
do nothing or make $40, I would lean toward the $40.
Yeah. I would say point at what you want me to fuck.
Put it in
And
my
it's not
mouth,
fucking.
whatever.
Yeah.
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 So what are we
Well-
talking about this week?
We're gonna
I
talk
guess
about
Stanley.
we're gonna talk about Stan Lee and his Me Too accusations. I mean, Stephen Avery.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave
The Ave Man.
Stan Lee's off the cuff this week. We're gonna talk about Stephen Avery because Making a Murderer 2 has been out for a few weeks. Basically, everybody has seen it.
Yeah, I hope so. You better
As
turn
of-
it off now.
As of 3 days ago, I had not seen it, and both of you guys implored me to watch it, saying it was good, even though I said I watched 2 episodes and it was boring as shit.
Yeah, but you also like Venom.
And last night I marathoned
Credibility's
season 2
lost.
of Stephen
Yeah.
Avery,
Yeah.
and I'm so disappointed in both of you.
Wow.
That
it
show
gets
fucking
better.
sucked.
It gets better.
It
but
does not
it
get
was
better.
Definitely, yeah, it was a drag for a bit.
This like lawyer just talks with her mouth closed the whole time. She just talks with her lips.
Yeah, she does a John Kretchen.
Yeah,
She
like
did,
a
you know what?
Clint
I
Eastwood
kind of closed
impression.
my eyes right there, Jimmy.
For
Did your little impression, and it was
10
like fucking
episodes of
sure.
me
Is that
talking like the
Catherine?
jury picks a... You just have to explain to the jury. Fucking bullshit. 10 episodes of this. I watched
She's
7 hours
definitely
of...
Well, she's a stroke victim. You
She's
gotta
a stroke
put her a
victim.
little
Defending future stroke victims. I don't know what it was.
slide. Yeah.
What a horrible show.
You didn't
It was
like it. You hated
basically...
it.
Season 2 was like a recap of Season 1. Like, why did that need to be 10 episodes? Anything
Well,
that
good
developed
point. It
in
was
Season
slow.
2 could be explained in 1.
I don't know, man. Well, I guess they could have, but like, were you just mentioned it yourself? It's money. It's all money.
It's
right?
money. It's money. They needed the flicks. Skylar's dropped,
they-
and he's back.
Yeah, he dropped. he's
Seamless.
back.
Seamless.
But
Oh,
they
man.
Seamless.
they definitely shed some light on some interesting stuff. That not to say that it couldn't have been all part of one season, but like towards the end when they were talking about Bobby and the husband, the fucking
Well, let's
stepfather.
not get ahead of ourselves
Okay.
here. Let's,
Okay, all
you
I'm
know?
saying is though that they shed some light on some interesting stuff by the end of
Yeah.
it. That kept you kind of like, ooh, what's gonna happen next? But it took 5 fucking episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
So
And,
you're
like-
the expert, Skylar. Let's break us down on Season 2 of Making a Murderer. When Season 1 ended, I was still 100% Stephen Avery is guilty as shit.
Yeah, I'm thinking less and less.
I'm
these
thinking
days.
less, but I also feel like Season 2 starts with they like address like, oh, Season 1 was pretty one-sided. They left out evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then season 2 was meant to be like, here's the whole picture and he's still innocent. But I still felt like season 2 was like, we're going to nitpick certain details and go hard
that's her
on
job
it.
now.
But it's still not an unbiased film. Like,
no, it's definitely not.
They raise question. I wouldn't say that's reasonable doubt. There's questions. I have more questions now.
They definitely...
That's exactly what doubt is.
It's not reasonable doubt, though. There's a difference between doubt and reasonable doubt.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
You think it's reasonable?
Yeah,
I do.
man.
Yeah.
The reasonable doubt is like Brandon Dassey's brother did it and his stepdad. Like they're just like shifting the blame to someone else in the family.
Well, it's granted there's no evidence to support that yet.
Okay, that's not reasonable doubt.
There's no evidence to support Stephen Avery being in jail.
Except that he's a scumbag.
Right?
Again,
what's the evidence?
He threw a cat in the fire in the first episode. So he's capable of all crimes.
Because he threw a cat in a fire, like when he was 16 years old, means that he did that. Like I think that's bunk.
I don't think Bobby Dassey threw a cat in a fire.
Oh, Brandon Dassey.
Bobby Dassey, his brother.
Oh man,
Bobby Dassey.
Never mind throwing him in fires. He eats them for sure.
He eats them. He seems like
he's just running around the neighborhood, lynching cats.
I just I don't know. I watch a lot of this, this is my shit. I love this real life criminal drama stuff.
Oh, you're watching
Forensic Files, Cold Case Files, Dateline. Give me some of that Lester Holt any day of the week.
I watch Chris Hansen every day.
Yeah, but so I don't know, man. Like when they get into I think really and it was a bummer. My biggest thing was I thought that season 1. I really liked his lawyers. Like I thought his lawyers were really cool dudes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when you watch this season, they don't pull any punches.
They shit on them.
Fucking were terrible.
Yep.
Like they really let down.
Yeah, they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
But
they didn't have. Sorry, we watched this shit, and even when you watch the new one, Catherine. First thing they do is the blood, right? Yep. They do the blood evidence, and it's pretty fucking conclusive, in my opinion, that what the cops said happened did not happen.
Yeah, it's inconsistent.
It's super inconsistent.
And that, to me, is enough of a I know, I don't know, I get that not everybody gets this stuff, but I know what a fucking blood splatter should do when it hits a wall, and how it runs, and what they showed, in my opinion, was what the cops said happened just couldn't have happened. And then what I never understood the cops' series of events that took place when she got murdered. Even in the season 1, it was so what the fuck happened? What are you saying happened? Was she, because they said that she got shot in the
head. They said the head.
Shot in the head in the garage.
Yep.
Yeah.
But she
or
was
outside
also
the garage. Yeah.
She was also shackled and stabbed in the bed
and raped.
And then she was burnt in the fire, raped and and then they found the body in the the quarry that was behind the Avery dump. Right?
Some of it, right?
And when if that's the series of events, I don't think in the first season that they proved that she was ever in the garage. Where did she die?
Or the house.
Or was she stabbed? Was she shot in the head? I never thought that they...
In the first season, they made a pretty good argument that she was never in the house. If she was stabbed in the fucking house, there'd be some trace of that. Couldn't find nothing. No blood. No fingerprints. Nothing. No DNA of hers in the house. And as far as the gunshot thing, that was only ever in the confession, that fucking stupid confession from Brandon. They're just pulling at straws and being like, this is probably what happened.
So
because we have this lame ass confession. And
I'm not defending the police.
Also, though, I don't want to.
You go ahead, Skylar. Go ahead.
Muyagarda.
You go ahead. Muyagarda.
Muyagarda.
I don't want to get into Brandon Dassey because it's such a fucked up situation.
Yep.
But a lot of the Stephen Avery evidence that they convicted him on came out of Brandon's ridiculous fucking confession, which it was a false confession. And in season 2 of Making a Murderer was the most boring aspect of the show was the Brandon Dassey stuff, because it's like such a, I don't know, if you've watched things on false confessions, people just don't believe that they happen. And it's like, but he confessed. Like, guilty people, innocent people don't confess to crimes they didn't do. And it's like,
well, when they're
when
dumb
you
as
sit there for
They're
fucking 10 hours and you
yeah.
don't feed them, and the guy wants to
And
just
they're-
go watch
yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Then-
when your like
Yeah.
age is higher than your IQ, you'll say anything.
Anything. But so like
And
that,
the cops, when you listen to the cops interrogate him, like they're pretty much just like steering him in the right direction. Like
Yeah.
it's obvious the entire time.
Oh, they
like,
feed him.
They're
They feed
feeding
They
it
feed
to
him
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And he's
What happened with
And
the
then-
trunk? What happened with the hood latch? Like, what did he do under the hood? And it's like, he never even brought up... He never formed a story or a timeline. He didn't...
No.
It didn't just come out of him like, this is my story or the story. It was all like him answering questions that were half fulfilled by the police the entire time.
Not
and they
even
just
half
strung it
filled.
together.
They were fully filled, and he's like, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be disrespectful, but he's like a slow learner, as he describes it himself. So basically, he just wants
He's
to...
not smart.
People are asking him questions. He does not fucking know the answer. And then when they give him enough information that he thinks he knows the answer, he's like excited to answer. So like, what'd you do with the head? He's like, I don't know. Would you do this? He's like, I don't know. Did you shoot the head? He's like, yeah, we shot the head. Like,
Yeah, but
he
see,
doesn't
even
know
that is,
anything.
like-
He just wants to be not stupid in front of a bunch of people he doesn't know. So as soon as enough
intimidated, I'm
information is like given to him that he can put like, yeah, did you shoot the guy? Yeah, we shot him. Like, what'd you do with the like hood of the car? Did you open it?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, we opened it. He opened it. I didn't see what he did. Like, he still has no clue. He just doesn't
But
want to
see,
seem
even
stupid.
To add on to your point, it's like almost the opposite though, where they're like, Brandon, like, what did you do to the head? And he's like, oh no, we knocked out all her teeth. Like, what else did you do to the head?
Yeah,
oh,
because that didn't happen.
We cut off all her hair. And it's like, he's told you what they've done to the head.
Yeah.
Why are you still asking him questions?
Because
And then
it's not
finally
the
it's
answer
like,
that they need. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then finally it's like, okay, I'm just going to ask who shot her. And then it's like, oh, yeah, well, he shot her.
Uncle
you know,
Steven
like
did it.
It's just so...
It's like he didn't bring up anything about a gun or about
No, he
shooting or
said that
anything until they kind of coerced it out of him, right? And that was with everything.
He was like just a sick fuck. Like, oh yeah, we took out all her teeth and shaved her head. Like, and it's like, whoa, bud. Like, just say you shot her. We can move on.
Have you guys seen the Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Like the new season where they kind of
It's the best season.
whole
It's the best season.
Brandon
so.
Dassey
Oh,
thing?
it's so fucking
Have
funny.
you seen that though? Where he's
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about how they power slammed her and stuff like that.
Charlie just
and
like going to
pile
WrestleMania.
driver.
Oh my god, that show is the funniest thing.
And it's a complete mockery of the Brandon Dassey thing, but it's like it's convincing just
It's
the same.
so
Like
funny.
it's just as fucked up.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
like out of context, or if you take the whole Brendan Dassey thing out of context and just watch it, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't know if it's possible to actually take it out of context at this point, but like, if you're living under a rock and that's all that you watch, you know, if that's the first thing that you see, it's like you're just you have to take pity on him. You know, he's
but
slow
even, like,
and he was coerced. You know.
In season 1, it was like a reoccurring thing where whenever they just needed evidence, they just go fucking call up Brandon and then like the conversations he'd have with his mom, just like, oh, like Agent Link came by again today, like, oh, Brandon, no, you didn't talk to him, like, yeah, so,
Yeah, so
like, what'd you
he
say
was
to
really
him?
nice.
I don't know.
He brought me
Oh,
some
yeah,
chocolate
sure.
milk.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, fucking
Oh,
like,
I
oh,
guess
like,
so. Yeah.
that was
damn
the
it,
funniest thing. Just like, well, let's go back to the well and see if Brandon's gonna say anything else, right? But that's
So-
all I want to say about Brandon, because, like I said,
Yeah, I don't want to
he's
talk
not-
too ill of him, but
he's not getting off.
he's not
the only
getting
way
out of
he's
jail
getting off
anytime
now-
soon.
The only way he's getting off is if Steven can get off, because then it's like, if this guy is not
Gets
guilty
off,
of the murder, at
Even
all,
then,
what's the deal? You
He's
know?
staying for a couple more years.
Mhm.
Like, he's
I think
doomed.
if with this
Well,
new
basically,
lawyer,
while
like, he
watching
does have a
season
fighting
2, he
chance.
went all the way up to the Supreme Court and failed. Like, there's no other option.
Yeah.
Like, you're fucked, dude.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
sorry.
I also
For
read
Brandon, yeah.
I also read an update the other day that he got shots in, he got in shit in prison because he had, 2 extra pieces of French toast and they found porn in his cell.
Oh, no. Brandon.
Yeah. Brandon.
No.
I mean, boys gotta eat, right? Boys gotta eat.
Boys gotta eat.
And he was, 12 when he went in. He's never seen porn.
He's never seen it.
But, well, maybe he has.
No.
I don't know. Growing up, Stephen Avery is your uncle, I think.
His brother's definitely seen some shit.
Yeah.
According to season 2 of the documentary,
maybe.
his brother is fucking a couple rapists.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, if there's
speller.
anybody who...
Did you see some of the spelling?
Yeah.
He would, he wanted to find a drowned girl in his Google search, and it was drawn girl with a U, drawn like a French girl,
Drown.
Drawn.
Yeah.
That's not how you spell it.
Back
There's
to what
just,
you guys were
different
saying a
spellings
minute
until you got
ago,
to
though, I
drown.
wanted to address. You're saying they found no evidence to support their story, the police are garbage.
Yeah.
And I agree.
about
The
right.
police are garbage. This is the middle of Wisconsin. I can't expect them to be good at anything other than breathing.
Hockey and cheese.
Even then, that's just oh yeah, I know that word. So I don't expect the police to find any evidence whatsoever, or let alone know how to collect evidence or record evidence. So saying that
they are professionals, not everybody.
But being a professional police person in Wisconsin versus Michigan, which is right beside them, night and day.
Yeah.
I'd say
I know
there's
what you're
So
definitely
saying
gonna be
they
It's
found
not
no
just-
evidence
yeah.
doesn't mean that Stephen Avery is not guilty. It just means the police are fucking horrible, and that's why they planted a bunch of shit. Kind of like OJ. They're 100% this guy
Yeah.
did it. We are completely unqualified to discover crimes, so we're going to just toss keys around on the floor and move this car a quarter mile up the road. It's not far.
Yeah.
It's fucking bullshit that they planted the car and moved it. But to think that, it wasn't found in the Avery compound, it was found a quarter mile down the road, that doesn't mean that he's off the hook in my book.
He's not guilty.
Yeah, that
Sure
doesn't mean
enough,
he's
but
not guilty. It means
I
the
don't
cops
think-
fucking suck.
I don't think there's...
But he's not
think
guilty.
Enough, I don't think there's enough concrete evidence to say that he is guilty.
I agree.
Because the evidence that they use to convict him is all suspect.
It's all based on Brandon.
Brendan's confession, the blood splatter, fucking... those are the 2 big ones, right? And the bones. But the coroner wasn't on site when they found the bones, which is illegal.
Yep.
They
Didn't even get to see the body.
Didn't get
Nope.
to see
And
the
was
body.
told. Was told on 2 separate occasions not to get involved with the Avery case because of the $36 million civil suit that was going on
Against
between
the
Manitowoc
community.
and the Averys.
Yep,
Twice she
Yeah.
got told that. That's fucked.
that's fucked.
But I just don't think
Oh.
there's enough concrete evidence to be Stephen Avery did it. Other than the confession, and to me, the confession is
The convention's crap. Throw
total
that out.
fucking bullshit.
Yep, I agree.
I
total
just
crap.
think,
But I
that
still
if you
think
have
Stephen
a
Avery
wife
did it.
and your wife dies,
I don't think he did.
no. If you have a wife and she dies, and you have a life insurance policy,
Yep.
it's you're basically going to jail for murder. That's
Yep.
how that
Yeah.
works, right?
I've watched
And it's
enough
why
First
because
48.
the motive is there. There's a motive. The money is the motive, right? If that's the motive in 90% of cases where in the Staircase, the other Netflix show that just came out, that was the motive.
Yep.
And it's if that's the motive for all of these men for killing their wives, how is that not a motive to frame this guy so you don't have to pay him?
Yep.
What's
for
going to
sure.
cost you? What's going to cost more to
question
fucking
you need to
fabricate this shit? Get the FBI to pull a few strings for you, or to pay the fucking lowlife $36 million?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you, but play
Yeah,
along with this.
motive.
So the police don't want to pay that fee. Okay,
Yeah.
I agree. So they're just going
bankrupt
to
the
wait
community, I
and
bet.
sit on their hands until somebody dies in the town and then pin it on Avery? That just seems a little bit too far-fetched. So then the next step
Maybe
is
they just got lucky.
the
with it.
police murdered her and pinned it on Avery. That seems more like a logical answer to your hypothetical question.
I get where you're going. Yeah.
So I just feel like
but that's far-fetched
hitting
too.
two birds with one stone kind of deal. Like, this random girl died, and her last text messages to this fucking guy, and her car was found down the street. Like, those are a lot of fucking coincidences to just happen to be like, oh, and perfectly that lines up with the guy that we don't want to pay a lawsuit to. So let's go all in on that. Like, I think that's a lot of, like, okay maybes. I'm with you if there was a little bit, if there was one piece of evidence that pointed to someone in the sheriff's department was responsible, then I'm all the way with you.
Well, all the evidence points towards the possibility that it was staged or manipulated.
And I believe it was.
Like, there's a fair amount.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, there's not one thing that says it's definitely the cops, but when it comes to the evidence that they used to lock up Stephen Avery, there's, like, inconsistencies with that now that they're diving into a little deeper. So, like, maybe it'll come out if there is a third season. I really liked how they shed light on this in this second season. I like how they shed light on the fucking brother, Brandon's brother, and the stepfather, and then her ex-boyfriend. I liked how they incorporated these new possible suspects, because the stories surrounding these three people specifically are interesting stories. How the guy had her a day planner, and he couldn't have got it from her house because it was written in after she would have left the house. So there's, I don't know. To go back to what you're saying, there's nothing that points the finger at, like, okay, the cops definitely did this, but the evidence that they used to lock up Stephen Avery is suspect, and that's on them too.
I would love if there was more. One of
those, like, O.J. Simpson cases where, like, I think they went into it with, like, hey, like, I just feel like even when they went there, it was like, it's got to be this Avery guy. It has to be.
Definitely.
So let's make sure. Like, that was my impression at the end of first season 1, was that I thought that he did it, but that they fudged evidence to ensure that he would be guilty of the crime, found guilty, right? Like, we don't 100% know, but we did, like, we put the key in his house because it just says another thing.
Just a little bow on it.
Then, but then I think as time goes on and you start to, like, in my opinion, it's like, I don't think he did it. And it's like, if they, like, I think they just kept going because it was like, fuck, well, we've already done this, and oh, fuck, we've already done that. Like, we're kind of too far, too deep to now be like, oh, no, maybe it wasn't him. Like,
that's one thing I was hoping for more.
Let's say hypothetically that...
Go ahead, Mikey. Go ahead.
I want to see more.
Well, that's what I was hoping that season 2 would be. Yeah. I keep saying go ahead, then
why
I
don't
interrupt
you just fucking talk?
Mike,
Jesus
go ahead,
Christ.
go ahead.
So, I mean, let's say hypothetically that Bobby Dassey, is that it? Brendan's brother, and Scott Tadich, or whatever it is, like the stepfather. Let's say that hypothetically that they had something to do with this. What would their motive be to frame Stephen, or even... Because they would have to have some... It's not like they're working with the police. Like, it's got to be two separate entities. It's like, if Bobby and Scott killed her, what's their motive?
And what's their opportunity?
The police motive's obvious. The police...
Yeah. Well, I feel like their problem is what's the opportunity.
The property.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, she just drove down the street, so they fucking forced her off the robe and raped her and killed her.
I think,
like, that's a stretch for me.
They're sick fucks.
No,
like, you saw the computer, and they're
all fucked.
Bored in the middle of nowhere.
Evidence.
You know,
they talked about they were told at the end. We were told at the end of the show that the other brother, he's younger than Bobby. Bobby was the oldest. The younger brother said that Bobby told him that he watched the girl leave. Teresa watched her leave the property. So that's evidence there that someone has seen her leave the property alive.
Yep.
But then Bobby, who is the star witness for the DA, told a different story on the that he left first and went hunting. Yeah. Now I think here's your motive.
Bobby and Scott both claim that they went hunting and they seen each other on the highway too. Like, it's just it's a little weird.
There's also a throwaway line in the first episode, because I watched them all fucking yesterday, where
Yeah.
Mama Dassey is talking about how it's hard for her to go up and visit Brandon because he's moved to a new facility 3 hours away, and that the brothers don't visit, and she's a little heartbroken. She's like, yeah, they just don't want to visit him. It's too hard for them.
Fuck off.
And when she said it, I was like, okay, that would be really hard to go visit your brother in jail. But then as the series develops, and one of the brothers she mentions, Bobby, is like an alternative suspect, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Like, the one brother doesn't want to go visit because he feels guilty as shit because he's possibly the one that's actually responsible.
Yeah.
Now his brother's...
And it changes it. It was like, oh, that was a cool like line they kept in the first episode. Because, the mom mentions, like, oh, Bobby doesn't want to go visit him. He's just too heartbroken. And you're like, oh, poor Bobby. Mm-hmm. And then by, like, episode 6, anyway, you're like, oh, wait, Bobby's a fucking piece of shit and possibly responsible.
He's a sexual deviant.
He's a sexual deviant.
So, Rue, you were kind of getting at something there before you kicked off. What were you getting at with the motive?
Been just shitty, but I think that Bobby watched her leave and followed her and killed her. Mm-hmm. And then I don't think Scott had anything to do with it per se, but I think he helped Bobby frame Steven.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, but what's the motive outside of that? Why would they do that?
Because Bobby's a sick fuck and was apparently very fond of her. I actually read a thing today from Catherine, the new defense lawyer, that like was saying that he was super fond of her.
The crypt keeper.
Yeah, would always watch her when she was there. Right? And so I think he fucking liked her and flagged her down after she left, and if he wanted to kill her or just something went wrong and he fucking beat her, killed her, and then I think Scott helped them cover it up, because it's like the motive there is like, you're going to jail because you just killed this girl, or we can frame it on Steven, and the cops already want him. Yeah. And then I think as it evolved, they fucking were like, okay, we gotta do this and that. Like,
one thing that bugged me though was the mom, and I think in the last episode, she was like all butthurt that Brandon lost his appeal, and she's like, Brandon's not responsible for this, and neither is my new husband or any other of my children. Yeah. And then it was like, well, that just takes so much emphasis away from Brandon didn't do this. If you have to like paraphrase, Brendan didn't do this, and neither did my step-husband or other children. Like, why is so many goddamn members of your family like a prime suspect in this murder? So you being passionate that one person isn't responsible means nothing anymore.
So was this the Facebook thing that she
totally
put up?
agree.
No, it was like an interview as she was walking away from the courthouse. Like, there was like, they're asking her, like, what do you think, you lost this appeal at the Supreme Court. And she's like, oh, I know, like, in my, like, soul that Brandon's not responsible. And neither is my husband, and neither are anyone else in my family. And it was like, well... You can't have it both ways. Because either Brandon's not responsible, or... your husband and other son is responsible. Like, it's not just some random guy that did this. Like, all the evidence points to the goddamn Avery compound. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, or the quarry.
Or the quarry, which is beside it. Like, come on. Like,
which is beside
the other thing that I read today that was interesting, is that Catherine has come out and said that they now have phone records that prove that Bobby Dassey did not go hunting that day. Right. Ooh. He said he left to go hunting. Yep. And they have records now that show that he made calls within the same area, because they also figured out where she was, right? Where like she took the long way around the property basically, and still was not very far away from the property when she pulled off where that guy fucking said he saw her car. Yeah. Like... Yeah, the trucker. Yeah. The truck driver. Yeah. And this is what fucking gets my blood going real fucking gets me going is that fucking Andrew Colborn, I think is his name. That fucking
the
weird
cop.
turnip looking motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, this was the guy that fucking
He
found
looks
the
like
key.
he has wet hands.
Oh, the moistest. He looks like Hans Moleman,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's
He
what he
does.
is.
He does.
It's exactly who he is.
He's got a
Fucking
paper
Hans.
towel in each pocket 24 hours a day to just dampen off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so this guy
Yeah.
fucking
Soak it up.
was at the scene, found the key, testified at the fucking, like, in the courtroom, and was still the cop that would walk Stephen from point A to point B in the courthouse. Like, at which point is this
wound.
not, like, or just, like, how is
Conflict.
it literally not everybody here is against me? Like, even the guy that's taken me out of my fucking jumpsuit and put me into my suit is now going to testify against because he was in my house finding the key. And supposedly, that truck driver, after he saw them making the murderer, said that he called in that he saw Teresa's car on the side of the road where Catherine thinks that it was, and the cop that he talked to was that Andrew Colborn dude.
Yeah. Yeah, the cop's
like,
shitty.
The same dude that got the fucking information on Stephen Avery's first fucking conviction
Yep.
and never reported it, and he ended up spending 10 more years in jail.
Yep.
And even when there's something about there was the call that he called in when Andrew had to call in to run the plates because the guy was like, hey, I saw the car, I saw her SUV.
Yeah.
Here's the plate number, run it. And when Andrew's calling in to dispatch, like, can you run a plate? It's this, and this.
Yep.
And the girl's like, that's the one. Are you looking at it? And he says no.
I'm just making that
so
number.
it's like he's not looking at he's just running the plate that he's gotten the information from somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? So like that so he knew where the car. How did the car then get from the fucking side of the road into the compound?
Yeah.
Which brings me to the light, which I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Was the fucking light in her car was busted.
Oh, the light in her car, yeah.
And is in the back seat of her own car when they find it. And the description of the car that they put out never said anything about a busted out headlight.
Yeah.
And she works for Auto Trader. Like, I can't imagine that they would want somebody driving around in their beat up shitty car.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't.
Driving.
You know? We'll fix your light. It's Auto Trader, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like, so how did that car get there? Someone moved it.
Oh, it's definitely a dirty story.
For sure.
I think as far, though, like, we're talking about season 2 of Making a Murderer, I was just bummed that there wasn't a lot of, like, alternative theories. Like, we've addressed the theories right now, but that's almost as much attention they got within fucking 10 episodes. Like, they're almost thrown out as hypotheticals. There's no evidence to support them other than, well, this could have happened. And as a TV show, it's like, and they just back up to that chick that doesn't open her mouth. She doesn't open her mouth when she talks, so I hate her already. But she doesn't do any research and just says, like, oh, the police should do this, but since they think they have their man, they're not bothering. And it's like, yeah, of course, because that's how the fucking justice system works. When someone's in jail, they don't just keep looking for new suspects. Like, I'm sorry,
but if you could...
it fucking sucks that these two people are in jail, but that's how it works. Like, hire a private investigator or do something, not just be a lawyer that has, you know, a cool background in front of a bunch of books and don't open your mouth when you talk, and throw Brendan's brother under the bus.
She did all of her own research. That's what the whole show was her doing the actual forensics research that the first lawyers never did.
Yeah, but I just felt like she was throwing it out as, like...
His counsel was shitty.
Yeah, right? She threw the counsel under the bus,
that they
for
withheld evidence. The defense, or the prosecutor, swabbed his dick for sweat and never told anybody about it.
It's unidentified human fluid or something, they kept calling it.
Yeah.
Because they knew if they called it saliva, there'd be, like, questions. Like, why did he gob all over the hood of the car?
Yeah.
Well, sneezed. He could have sneezed. Like, when they were talking about that evidence and even, like, the blood by the key, it's like, so he's like, the one thing she said was, like, he could turn this ignition on 1,000 times and he'd never never get blood where there was blood. Now, I want to believe that the cops or someone planted the evidence against Stephen because it seems more and more likely as they talk about it that's the case. But maybe that 1,001 time, that 1,001st time, he would have. Or maybe because he had a cut on his hand, he was favoring it and he wasn't grabbing the keys as you would if you didn't have a fucking cut on your hand.
Right.
Or maybe he sneezed on the fucking hood latch and that's where that... DNA comes from. Like, there's all these questions that are like, okay, it couldn't have been this because there's no possible way. But it's like, if you stop and think unbiased for a minute, it's like there are plenty of possible ways.
But but here it is right here, boys. Have you guys ever cut your hand before and tried to use it afterwards? Yeah. And you know how much blood fucking comes out of it when you're moving shit around? How many times have you done that and you've bled flakes?
Never. Oh, yeah, never. That's once? A weird one. That's a weird one, yeah.
Why the fuck are there fucking blood flakes on top of the carpet in that car?
I think
hold
that's
on.
A different
okay, how about this?
Okay.
Now, this is a stretch.
Absolutely.
It's not a stretch.
But how about blood flakes, this is a stretch. But you know how you can get that spray that fucking seals in carpet and textiles so that like water and stuff flakes off? Let's say the carpet was coated in something because it's a vehicle's carpet. It's coated in some kind of like anti-absorbent spray. The blood would just sit there, eventually dry out and wouldn't absorb. I'm just saying. I just thought of that now.
Possible.
There are possibilities to all these things.
I'm also going to say, I'm with you on the cut hand deal. Like, that raises some eyebrows. But I've also only ever cut my hand in completely civil situations where I have a cut on my right hand. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to, for fun, try wiping my butt with my left hand because I don't want to get cut in it. Yeah. But if I was murdering someone, maybe those like thoughts are out the window and you're just using your cut hand to open hood latches and like duct tape someone's head. And there could possibly be blood squirtage. But generally, I have a cut hand. I'm going to favor it and it's not going to touch shit. I'm going to cook with my left.
I think it's just as possible. It's just as possible. You know,
boys, it's not possible. You can't. How the fuck did he open the door, turn the key, fix the mirror, adjust the brake, adjust the gear shift?
Panicking.
Opposite hands.
Fucking not leave blood everywhere, and also not mix his blood in with Teresa's blood, who's supposedly in the back.
That's a question.
Now again, why are they even in the fucking car? Why are they in the car if he shot her in the garage and burned her?
And then brought the car back to his own property?
Yeah, but, I don't know.
Like it does.
There's so many inconsistencies. There's so many inconsistencies, but I don't think you can pick one or two things and be like, that's definitely not plausible because I just made an argument saying that I think it is plausible. It's not a matter of if I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying there's another option here. But you can't just pick one or two things and say he's innocent. But it is looking, and I believe that he's more than likely innocent. Like, that's what I want to believe.
Right.
But I'm trying to be the skeptic on the other side, thinking, like there's not enough, like, against anybody else or not against him to say that he didn't fucking do it. Like, okay, we've been over it. It's a stupid confession. It's the fucking blood. That, to me, it all seems kind of hokey pokey. But there's nothing to say that he didn't do it either, other than, like, we think the cops did this and we think there's other suspects. So I just want to see how it plays out. Like, I'm leaning more towards the Bobby and Scott thing.
That's where I'm leaning also. Like, I feel like there's a lot of, like, bullshit evidence and you can't separate what allegedly happened and what the police planted. I think they planted every bit of evidence we have. And like you're saying about the car, like, it makes no sense unless the police found the car a quarter mile down the road and just drove it back to the house.
And moved it.
Yeah, and that makes total sense because I think Stephen Avery and his whole clan of Averys are fucking morons. And they would think just driving the car a quarter mile down the road is far enough that they're going to get away with a murder.
Now here's
and regardless who actually did it, whether it was Bobby Dassey or Brandon Dassey or sister, cousin, whatever the fuck, like one of them did it, and they drove it a quarter mile down the road and by the quarry and just left it there. Fucking morons.
We've already raised the, like there's doubt in the fucking IQ of the Avery
family.
My
gosh.
Like, collectively, probably not much higher.
Collectively,
than
still in the 2 digits.
But it still begs the question. Stephen Avery, if you killed this girl and wanted to get rid of her vehicle, why did you not just crush the fucking thing?
Yeah.
That's what the job. That's
why
what your
would you
job
hide
is.
it behind tree limbs?
Why is it the only one that's like hidden in the fucking thing and everything? Like all those cars, like it's not like they're trying to hide the cars. It's like, man, we crush these cars and sell the parts for money, right? Like that's what the junkers do. Like,
okay, I'm with you. If that's fucking dumb.
If they killed him at the property, if they killed her at the property, why would it be on the side of the road? Where a trucker can spot it.
That's that's where I'm leaning. Like, if it is Bobby Dassey and stepfather...
It seems likely.
And it's very likely. But, like, why would they leave the car where it was then? Like, they have the same access to the junker bullshit as anyone else. They could drive it 4 miles down the road. Not in their goddamn backyard.
It would be conspicuous. It would be conspicuous if they were tooling around there, right? More so.
And they're stupid, right?
Yeah.
So they probably think, like, hey, if they find this car with this dead woman who, like, they found her, like, what they thought was where she was killed, too, was not far from her car.
No.
Like, the dogs hit on that, too, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I think their thought process was, hey, if they find this woman dead and her car less than a quarter mile away from Stephen Avery... Like, that's probably enough to fucking make them want to,
I think you're giving them way too much credit.
And with
the
car not being found until 3 or 4 days after she was missing, that does give whoever is associated with this, affiliated or responsible, time to do all the necessary things to make it look like Stephen Avery did it if he didn't do it.
I think that's the police, though. I think the police framed him. I do not give any credit to Bobby Dassey and Scott.
No.
I don't give them any credit to framing shit. I think where the dogs hit is where they actually left the body. And then the police moved everything themselves. They moved the body, they moved the remains, they moved the car, everything closer to the Avery compound. I don't think Bobby Dassey and stepfather Stephen... What is his name? Scott.
Yeah.
Stepfather. I don't think they're smart enough to try and plant evidence to frame Stephen. Like, I think they're all fucking idiots.
No.
So I think
it's like
either possible Stephen did it and just moved everything like a quarter mile off the road and he's a moron, or Scott and Bobby Dassey did it a quarter mile away and just left it where it happened, and they're also morons. And then the police found it and thought, like, well, we hate Stephen, so it's probably him, and they're morons, and then framed him.
Yeah.
They're all morons.
They're all morons. Yeah. And either way, like,
I like how at the top of the episode, you're like, oh, I don't want to say too much about Brandon and, his lack of intelligence, and now we're just like, fucking morons.
Well, I feel like Brandon is different than his fucking stepfather.
There's no sense in wasting our time talking about Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon's different. He was 16 years old, or 14, I don't remember the age, and has a clear, 16, learning disability. I think your idiot stepfather is different than, a learning disability.
Now, with all this moron
he's
talk
had it for
getting
20
thrown
more
around,
years.
Yeah.
Stephen Avery has stuck to his guns about what happened leading up to those events and everything, afterwards. He was adamant that the blood was taken from his sink.
Mm.
And because he cut his hand and didn't clean it up because he's disgusting.
Yeah.
We all saw the inside of his trailer. They haven't even touched it since he left, right?
We saw his beard and haircut.
Yeah, but so, he said that from Jump Street that's what happened, and that he saw someone pull up to his house, and when they got there, that there was nobody there anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Him and his brother, yeah.
And I just think, as dumb as we all think these people are, how do you keep that story straight for the last 13 years and not waver on it at all, unless that's what you actually perceive to have happened?
Yeah. I'll give him. I
honestly don't think
that's true.
I don't think Stephen Avery did it, but it is super suspicious.
When people lie and make up shit, it's so much harder to remember later down the road than it is what actually happened. And that's how a lot of times...
And they do touch on that, too, with the, elaborate nature of people's lies, too, right? The more elaborate you tend to be, the more likely you are lying.
And
Yeah,
I also
right? Where
feel
he's
like
not-
They always say, like, people add on to their stories when they're making up shit.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
when
oh, I
it comes
remember
up
this
later,
later.
they'll be like,
Oh,
and this happened, and that happened. And it's like, well, you didn't say that 20 years ago.
Yeah.
How do you remember it better now
Yeah.
than you did when it happened?
I also feel
but in all fairness, can you remember 10 years ago?
No,
I can't.
not at all.
I really can't.
I think,
so maybe
but I
it's-
think a major
2008,
event like a
2008,
murder
I can
happening,
remember
you would kind of
2008.
remember more.
But can you remember
Oh, yeah.
fine details of a monumentous event in your life?
I
It's
remember,
not
Mike,
murder,
you
and you're
one
not
time.
on trial for it. But
Here we go.
You one time,
Get ready to
you
go
and
under
I
the
being
bus,
at my
Mike.
cottage.
Under the
No,
bus.
we were at my cottage, and we walked from Fairholme
deserve
Lake
it.
all the way into McKellar, and it took us like 3 hours to do.
well,
And
I remember that
remember-
too because it was fun as shit.
Yeah, it was a great time.
You know,
I
like,
will never
You
forget that.
pissed all over yourself, and the guy who was gonna pick us up on the side of the road fucking
Yeah.
drove away. Yeah, I
We
remember
were
that.
Trying to hitchhike.
I
home,
remember
and
your
I had
face.
I had like a 12 box of piss in me. And
Yeah.
I fucking
We drank all of it
finally
on the way
got someone
back.
to pull over so we could fucking go home and get in their car. And as he pulled over, I
You
fell
fell
over
down the
taking a
hill
piss,
and you
rolled
pissed
down
all
the
over
hill
yourself.
and like pissed all over my chest. And
Yeah,
that guy
and it was just like, oh, he's leaving.
yeah,
Oh.
squealing tires just got the fuck out of there.
Yeah, and I'm like, come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
terrible.
Well, you guys remember that
Yeah.
fucking clear as a bell.
Yeah, it was 10
Yeah,
years.
because it was
drunk 10
hilarious
years
and
ago.
fun.
Yeah.
You know, I guess you know what? Fuck my point then. You know.
Well, I was
remember
gonna
that
say
too.
I give Steven some credit because, like, I feel like when you're lying about something, you want to have an answer for every question to prove you're not
Yeah.
lying.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pretty content
Mhm.
with like sticking with like, I have no idea what's going on. That chick left,
Yeah.
and there's nothing. There's not like,
Yeah.
oh, we found the bullet casing in her garage, and he's like, oh yeah, me and my dad were like throwing bullet casings around, and we're like, oh, what about the fire out back? Oh yeah, me and this. Like, he doesn't have a million excuses for every piece of evidence. He's just like,
Mhm.
yeah, none of that happened.
Yeah.
So
know
I
what
give
you're
him
talking
some
about.
credit there.
Now, what do you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about the? What do you think about? I don't know how reputable it is, but what do you think about that test they did on him, where they like scan his brain?
Not reputable.
And show him like. Not reputable.
That's junk science.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It's
though.
interesting, but junk science.
Yeah.
Skylar?
So you think it has no play on whether or
Oh,
not...
he's gone.
He's gone. He hated
gone.
that.
He
He
just-
fucking hated that test. Yeah, as soon as we started talking about it, he's like, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. Fuck that test.
Don't bring that up. No, I don't know. I'm just
Don't
trying.
bring up
Like, it's
that
something's fucking up,
neoscience.
so I'm trying to get out and back in quicker.
Yeah.
But I'm sure. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
that weird
that
cerebro
test. What's
thing.
your test? What's your thought on
Yeah.
cerebro?
Like I don't think it's credible, but I also feel like maybe it's just something that we don't all fully understand yet. This weird test that this guy's thought of, just as like
Mhm.
when the first ever like truth detector test
Now,
came out.
Well,
Was
for
that
the
guy wearing
viewers
a
at
wig?
home that haven't
Do you guys
seen
do you
it,
remember that guy?
Could have been. I think I do remember saying that to the roommate. Like I think that guy's wearing a
Like,
wig.
was he wearing a wig?
Yeah, he was wearing a
like,
wig.
It's
So you
just
instantly don't
something
really trust
fishy.
people.
he looked like shit.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen like
Total
Ken
shit.
Burns
But
documentaries?
so did that like arson dude.
Have you?
That weird arson fire guy.
Yeah. Ken Burns does like
Recent.
famous documentaries like the World War and all shit. Skylar, I know you're big on Ken Burns.
Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah.
But if you Google Ken Burns, he has the fucking most bullshit wig. And I remember going to
Yeah.
like a documentary premiere of one of his movies. I think it was Central Park 5. Also a great
Oh,
crime
yeah.
documentary. And after the
Totally.
filming, they like did a Skype Q&A with Ken Burns. And as soon as he popped up, like, what the fuck is with this guy's hair? And I started to Google like Ken Burns hair. And there was a million results and like all these Facebook groups dedicated to Ken Burns' hair. Like, it was such a bullshit wig. Like, it looked so stupid. He looked like one of the Beatles. Like, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Just like a black mop
Like-
top on top of a 60-year-old man.
And it's like way too dark.
It was
for
way
his
too
age
dark
and
and like
the
combed.
color of his eyebrows.
But speaking of this
funny.
test for the viewers at home that have not seen season 2 of Making a Murderer, basically like it measures like the brain waves and the guys
Your
asking
recognition.
Stephen Avery like keywords, and he'd say like car, truck, Lisa Horback or Teresa Horback. And
Her sister.
if there's like a spike in the brainwave, that means it's something that Steven is like familiar with. So he went through like a bunch of general things as well as evidence, and the conclusion was like, oh, Steven doesn't know anything, that triggered the test. But test is coming 15 years after. So
that's what I thought.
I can't think of like keys being planted in your room is like spiking anything. Like none of this stuff is new to him. Everything should trigger, So I can't. Yeah. So
but
the test is like
comes back to the intelligent factor too. Like maybe he can beat that system because he's dumb.
I remember there was a great point though right before that where like they hooked Steven up to the machine and Buddy was like getting set up. And Steven was just sitting there with like the dumbest look on his face, and I like turned to the
staring at the camera.
This is gonna be like a meme of just like that moment when your lie has spiraled completely out of control. Just like what have I gotten myself into? You know what I mean? Like I'm hooked up to this futuresque. Now I think that futuresque machine maybe someday will be something, but it's kind of too new for me to be like, oh my god, is like we know.
Well, even like a lie detector
with
test
the
is not
wicked
legitimate.
hair wig.
Yeah, hair wig.
That dude, Mr. Hairwig, he was saying too. He's like, if we had got to him like the first day after this had happened, the results of this test would be a little more credible.
Definitely.
Whereas it's been 15 years, we've gone through all this fucking shit.
Nothing's gonna spike.
To
be more selective.
I wanted to talk about, and like this is was the bullet that they found in the garage, right?
Yeah.
And they did the tests on it where they shot it through the cow skull.
Yep.
And it left like bone fragments in the fucking the skull or in the bullet, and they didn't find bone, that. Yeah, they didn't find that on the bullet. They found her DNA, but they also found like I've. Swear that they said this, that there was a weird wax substance on the bullet as well.
They
but
did
then
say that.
She also said that like they think her theory is that the cops got Teresa's DNA from her lip
chapstick.
Yeah, which they did take from her house.
Right.
And so it was like, are you did they seriously just take her chapstick and like rub this bullet on it kind of thing? Like
it seems like it. Like it's
really
plausible.
Seemed like that's what they did.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to
and also the point that they make about all the casings all over the property. It's like they're fucking rednecks, and I mean, they're like shooting squirrels and they're shooting the side of their barns and shit. Like,
and even like the landlord. So which is also weird is that like they don't own that property. There was actually some other dude that's like, I don't care that you keep your this piece of land like that. Like. But he was like, I used to shoot there all the time, like 22s, 48s, everything. Like, it doesn't matter, right? And that was
it's a different
it just seemed
life,
like they found a random bullet. Why was there no blood in that garage? That garage.
I think everything the police said they found is fucking fake. I'm not going to disagree with you. All that's planted in bullshit, but I still don't think there's evidence to say he didn't do it. I know that's bullshit also. Like, it should be proved that he did it, but this case is just mind-boggling.
But I think there's no proof to say he didn't do it. I think is just as absurd as saying that there's no proof to say that you didn't do it.
I agree. It's
okay.
nonsense. But I mean, as far as like these 2 seasons, there's 20 episodes, like some 20 hours of the show to like prove that he didn't do it. I don't think they've achieved that yet. Like, how many more hours of the show do they have to show to say, like, you cannot argue he didn't do this? Because there's still always but... I don't know. I think we just need to find some evidence that actually points to somebody else and not just a theory. Like, it's just like timeline things don't line up, or this person might also have a motive, but there's not actually evidence.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I think the problem with it is because now that the evidence that the cops has found has come into question, in my opinion, you got to throw it out. I can't believe anything that they found. And now I find it even hard to believe that they didn't find other evidence that may have pointed somewhere else that they chose to neglect.
As
because
much
they've already caught proof of
Or
it happening
tamper with.
twice.
as much
was
as
two of those
that
Brady
Clint
violations.
Eastwood lawyer that
Yep.
just talks through her teeth, like talked like she knew every fucking thing in this show. I think where she fucked up was Brendan got originally case reversed by like the District of 9 court, wherever the fuck that was, and then they left it to go to rebuttal to the Supreme Court. And that whole time she didn't really do anything, and that's the window where she needed to usher in an appeal on Stephen Avery. Like, if this confession got thrown out, then Stephen Avery's case has also got to be thrown out. But she didn't.
Yeah.
And now that the Supreme Court doubled down and double reversed Brendan Dassey's case, like, what grounds does she have to appeal Stephen Avery? That, like, this conviction that was upheld by the Supreme Court is bullshit? It's like, no, it's too late now. Like, you should have acted when that question was reversed. And now it's like the confession got double confirmed now. Like, that's a concrete confession right now. We all think it's bullshit, but the Supreme Court says no, that was not coerced. That was a legitimate confession, and it's going to stand. So, like, what can Stephen Avery say now?
Four of the seven people.
What doesn't matter? It's unanimous decision.
No, it's the majority.
Yeah,
I know.
like,
But what
Supreme
happens then
Court's
when
the highest court.
DNA evidence just doesn't match up with the confession, the forensic evidence. Like,
but this isn't like a 1991 case where DNA is bullshit. It's like 2008 or something. Like, DNA,
it's still bullshit.
It's fake. It's all fake from the cops. But until they like find Bobby Dassey DNA on something.
But again, though, I just said that. I think they've already found his DNA.
Yeah.
And just have chosen not to say that they did.
Discarded it.
They've chosen to leave other things out.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you can believe anything that the cops have said.
Well,
it's the same with you guys in NASA.
Back to my earlier point that, like, not only do I think the cops planted everything, I don't think they found anything or even know how to collect anything. Like, I think police in Wisconsin are pretty confident with, like, taking change out of their pocket and possibly driving the car with 1 foot at a time and not, slamming the brake at every intersection. Like, I just don't think that we're playing with a full deck of cards.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That chick did say that she thinks that the hood latch that they found the secretion on was tampered with. It looked like it had been completely cleaned because there'd be other DNA on that area.
Yeah.
Well,
not just Stephen Avery.
Especially with them just calling it like body fluid and refusing to acknowledge what fluid that was. Because clearly, if they did a test and it's like, this is saliva taken during the booking of Stephen Avery, everyone will know. Like, well, he didn't open it with his fucking mouth. Like, there's no way there's saliva on the car.
No sneezes, man. There's things that just like you got to think like realistically about. What if he fucking sneezed?
Yeah.
You know?
I just think though, like, especially I think what you were saying earlier with this place too is the fact that it's like it's up to the prosecution to come up with like the narrative to tell people this is what we think happened. This is what the evidence shows.
Yeah.
This is what we think this is the story that we're trying to portray. Here's the evidence to say that this is what happened, right? And it's the defense's job to poke holes in said theory, right?
Yeah.
And I think that they've already proven now that, like, with I don't know how his first set of lawyers they called one expert to the stand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the prosecution called like 20.
Yeah.
But it's like the evidence just does not match up anymore to the story that the prosecution said happened. And so when you get into your beyond reasonable doubt, it's like, man, like, is questionable, like, which part of this does not have any reasonable doubt that he didn't.
It's a made up story with made up evidence to support
what you're
it.
saying.
That's what
I
it
think
seems
what
like
might add too is like, you know what? Maybe he very well did it, but the story that the fucking cops are saying is not what happened.
No.
And we're not here. That's what the fucking court is there to do. It's not like It's like, hey, is what they're saying true or is what the other people are saying is true?
Yeah.
And
Now,
like,
if
that's
whether he did
the
it or
burden
not,
of proof
that's
is what they call it, right? Like
the
you
burden
can't
of proof. Yeah.
you can't bring up something in court and not have evidence to back it up.
Yeah, or gets thrown out or whatever, right?
Right, and then you're not the jury's not allowed to make a rule on things like that.
Well, that was interesting when they tried to bring the defense the fucking coroner to the stand to question the coroner and like, you know, where did you learn about this? And they were basically like, oh, this is irrelevant, and the judge agreed, and she fucking got taken off the stand, right?
And she quit her job right after.
It was bullshit.
Yeah,
she quit her job.
She quit her job.
Yeah.
So. This whole episode,
honestly,
we've been throwing the police under the bus and the whole Avery family under the bus. I also want to throw the whole people of Wisconsin under the bus. Because one thing I was so surprised with was, like, the reaction of the local town folk are so happy to just leave Brendan in jail and are completely, blindslide, just want to turn a blind eye to, there's a possible other murder out there. And there's all these rallies and runs for Terry and for her memory. And it's just all these people that are just completely simple-minded as much as Stephen Avery. Oh, they already got the killer, so let's not look anymore. And it's
what is it, Manitowoc?
Yeah, fuck Manitowoc. They're just so happy that someone's in jail.
This is just 1 in a million cases of this happening.
That's the thing.
Here's the other one. You ready for this? Fuck Ken Kratz.
Oh, I was going to say, he was the dirtiest player in this whole game.
In my home, we got a term for that, and it's called human garbage. And that man is fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Dude,
and I
to go
hope
and
that he
that
dies
public
a
outing,
fiery death,
I know, dude. That public outing when he just gave everyone this fucking story.
It was like the night before Christmas story. He's adding all these adjectives and shit.
2 days after Brendan's confession.
Yeah.
You know what? There's fucking more
evidence
to
Ken
support that
Human
Ken
garbage.
Kratz is a fucking sexual predator than there is that Stephen Avery is a murderer.
Yeah.
He fucking Ken Kratz
fucking
sent lewd fucking text messages to a woman that was sexually assaulted, that he dealt with. You know what I mean? It was.
Oh, he's a piece of garbage. Yeah.
Piece of fucking, and then he has the audacity to go around afterwards. Even now, he's not even connected at all. He lost his job over that shit.
Yeah.
But he held a press conference on the steps of the fucking courthouse for one of the appeals that they did. Dude, you need to sit the fuck down and get the fuck out of here. You fucked this up. You don't worry about it. You're gonna get called in soon enough to answer for all the bullshit that you did.
Have you ever seen?
You can't do that
he's responsible for withholding information.
Everything.
He's responsible for kind of steering this fucking narrative and shit. He's a lot of the problem with the original case.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's just man. I hope he's listening to this. We should just send it to his Twitter.
I'm going to send it to him. Have you ever seen anyone that loved being on camera more than Ken Kratz? That fucking guy had a glow on at a fucking press conference.
I think it was sweat.
He's a secretor.
He's a sweater for
He's
sure.
a secretor.
But there was
how do you get any credible fucking forensic evidence with Ken Kratz around?
He was stoked to be on TV.
He's moist too. His hands are constantly
he's
moist.
almost sheriff deputy moist.
I don't know what's wetter, the backs of his knees or the fucking insides of his hands.
The inside of Stephen Avery's
He's a
hood
moist
of his
motherfucker.
car.
Fuck that guy.
Everybody just sweating in Manitowoc.
I didn't remember that whole confession or the whole whatever he did on the on Action 2 News or whatever, that fucking press conference he had. I forgot all about that until they went into it on the second season, and it was holy fuck, this guy has some nerve.
Oh yeah.
He's just
that's
unbelievable.
Also, I think a problem that we have in our society these days is everything is so publicized that by the time it actually... Now, I shouldn't say it. I feel like America is fucking bad for this because it happens in Canada. We just had that fucking dude, Dylan Millard, in Ontario. He killed a couple people and you didn't really hear too much of it. Or the other dude, Bruce MacArthur, I think, he killed all the gay people.
Yeah.
And we don't really hear much about it. He's been charged, and there's little bits
you shouldn't, because it's going to sway public opinion.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And this Ken Kratz motherfucker, day one was we arrested Stephen Avery because this is what he did. Chapter 1.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, so then by the time a year later comes and it's
he
time
called
for the
him a
actual trial,
secretor in that
Yeah.
fucking. He's called him a secretor or sweaty. He said his sweaty 45-year-old uncle. And it was like,
he did.
you had to add that? Yeah,
And he said it with such a
shit.
disgust on his face,
That's
like
some
uncle.
foreshadowing.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
he's
his
pushing
sweaty-
300 pounds. Like it's
Oh
not like
my
he's not a
God.
secretor, and likely over
No.
45
No, he's
pounds.
pushing pudding out of
Yeah,
his pores is what he's pushing.
Sweating gravy,
God,
Ken
yeah.
Katz.
Fucking guy. Just pockets full of gravy, that guy.
Well,
him
boys.
and Andrew Colborn, the two of them can just fucking
Everyone
I
within
Think of the
that
worst
Yeah,
thing
show
imaginable.
can
sweat it off.
fuck off. There's
Yeah.
no lovable characters in my book except Brandon. He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, he is a sweetheart.
Do you guys?
And the parents, Steve's parents.
Oh, this.
Just like I felt so bad for them.
Yeah,
I
his
don't feel
parents
bad
and his
for them.
brothers and stuff.
No, I don't feel
Yeah.
bad for them.
There's one part
I feel
where,
they're
like,
partly
the dad
responsible.
gets the dad gets
'Cause
really
they had all
angry
those
at
stupid
something.
They had all the
kids, or-
stupid kids, and they got to be somewhat aware of what's going on their. They live there
There's one
too.
part-
Like it's
yeah.
all like it's not
Yeah.
like they're across town
It's
or
very
some shit.
inbred.
They all
Yeah,
live in
it's weird.
trailers, touching each other.
They're all
Everyone
mouth
knows
breathers.
what happened.
There's this one part
Yeah.
where like the dad like gets so angry. I think it's when like Brandon, one of the appeals gets overturned, and he comes in and they're filming him, and he just like mumbles out like because you don't even know what he says half the time.
God, no,
Basically,
his
he said just like,
suspenders.
"Get me off that goddamn camera," and then he just like stood there fucking so angry, like he was just gonna will it to happen. Like it's just like, dude, like you're
Yeah.
standing in the shot. Like do you know how cameras work?
You're in
Like,
the
if you
shot.
wanna- yeah, if
And
you
he
wanna
was
get off
showing
camera-
his bottom teeth a lot.
Oh yeah.
That's
He
I think
does
that's
a lot
just,
of this.
Yeah.
I've never seen
Yeah.
someone wear suspenders with such loose pants.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah,
down
yeah.
with suspenders, like
he
those
used
are
to be
cool.
way bigger.
But his pants are way too big. Like what is the? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like the suspenders are doing
Just get
everything.
pants that fit.
Like if
Yeah.
one
Oh, yeah.
shoulder like squeaked free, he'd be hanging dong for sure.
Taking temp.
I've never seen such
Oh,
loose pants
man.
with suspender. What a setup by Gord
Yeah, clown
Dassey.
pants.
Steve. Oh, Jim
Gord
Senior.
Avery.
Gord.
Uh,
All right. Well, should we ask?
Yeah, let's
an
ask an
expert?
expert.
Well, okay, one last thing.
Oh.
One last thing before we get into it. The whole fucking burn pit
Yep.
thing. With like
Yes.
the lack of fucking residue, the lack of fuel, the bones. Like there was only a few bones in there, and the bones that would be most complicated to burn or get rid of were nowhere to be found. Like there's no photos of it being exhumed. You know, the
No.
coroner wasn't called. Like the fucking burn pit.
Yeah.
Like,
now,
That
I did
is
make-
the cops.
fun of the guy
That's,
earlier.
got the
that's
cops all over it.
for sure.
but I've seen that arson
Yeah.
expert before on Forensic Files, and he's the man.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe what he says. As soon as I saw
Even
him, I was
with that
just like,
wig?
whatever this. Yeah, even with the wig,
Okay.
I know, but it's like whatever this guy says is totally what fucking happened, and totally, even like to bring up Dylan Millard again, like he burnt one of the, I think it was like a girl that he killed. I can't remember. No, it was a dude. He stole his truck and then killed him, and then fucking burnt him in a pet cremator that he had.
Okay.
And that
Wow.
was what this guy talked about, was that it's like, what you don't realize is it's really hard to burn a body completely,
Yeah.
thoroughly, all the way through, that there's nothing left without it being in a contained cremation. Like, I don't know, crematoriums
Yeah.
are like,
Yeah.
you know, specifically made to do that job.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
You can't
gotta
really
keep the heat
just
in.
do it, yeah, like in a one
Yeah,
setting.
use as fuel too, right?
Yeah.
It's fuel. It's
Yeah.
not just like wood's gonna burn out, and he even talked about that. There'd be an abundance of ashes if you use solid
Yeah.
fuels,
Yeah.
and there was
And
no
then he
residue from any accelerant or anything. So
And like his thing was that like when human bodies burn, the juices that are in our cells boil
Yeah.
and pop out, and we leak
Creates
a
a
lot
residue.
of fucking fluids.
Yep.
yeah,
And that you should see that. And if unless they completely cleaned
Yeah.
out that pit,
Yeah.
you would see that, and there wasn't any of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
and if they cleaned out the pit, I mean, it's like they wouldn't have left a pelvic bone or a skull bone. Right?
I think
Like,
if you were going
And
to
they
go
probably
through
would've
the
crushed
effort
car,
to make a
and
Yeah, that's it. Like, I think
exactly.
if you're going to go through the effort of making a 10-foot bonfire to burn a body and then completely empty the pit,
Clean it.
you would have just
they
got
would've
rid
hit
of the
the
body
car.
somewhere else. Like, that is way too much fucking work.
Yeah, they would have crushed that car and
They would have
threw
crushed the
everything
car
in there.
and driven the car more than a quarter mile down the road, maybe taken the body across state line. Like, how fucking long does that take?
So it
Drive
seems planted.
3 hours
basically,
one direction, dump the body, come back. You'd be home in the same night.
Leave the car there.
It's so easy, people.
I feel like this.
You want to get rid of a body, just drive 3 hours, dump the body, come back. You're home in the same night, and there's no way that they can say they found it in your backyard. Like, what is so hard about this? It's simple.
Yeah,
true.
Avery family, Dassey family, please take note. For the next auto trader person you rape and murder, drive them further away than quarter of a mile.
Yeah.
It's really not that hard.
If you did it.
You definitely did it. Someone in that house did it.
Someone definitely did
Someone definitely did it.
Yeah. The rape thing, too, again, before we
That's even questionable. We don't even know.
Thing,
I'm just speculating.
Like, they don't know if she was fucking
raped. They don't know
raped.
anything. The body was burned.
Know.
They don't even know if she got shot in the head. Like, there's nothing left.
No, they don't know. That was all part of Brendan's fucked up confession, and there's like no legitimacy to that.
There's nothing.
You know?
No legitimacy.
I feel like this could have been a two-parter because there's a few things like the dogs and the scent of the dogs following through the quarry. Like, I'd like to talk about, but people can go and watch it and form their own opinions.
Yeah, it's 10 hours and it sucked, but you can watch it anyway. Let's go to Ask an Expert.
Yeah.
So my question, I'm going to kick things off. We learned about the people of, what'd you call it? What's the name of the town, Scholar? Manitowoc?
It's Manitowoc.
Manitowoc. Yeah. Are you better off in jail or living in Manitowoc?
Ooh.
Is
the jail in Manitowoc?
Well, I asked this question because every clip we saw of people with Manitowoc, they were the most haggard, disgusting people I've ever seen in the world. Everyone was at least 20 years older than they looked. But... They're sucking down 2-liter colas. I feel like Brendan's better off.
Yeah. He's probably got a healthier diet.
He's got a Nintendo 64. He's probably got porno, as we discussed. Like, what else do you need?
Have porno, yeah. What else do you need? Yeah.
So that's my question. Free in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, or prison?
Quality of life. Well, it didn't seem like he was really using his freedom to the full advantage. He just sat around playing video games and drinking 2 liters of cola. So, I mean, his quality of life's probably, it's probably on par with slightly better.
He's probably only getting 400 milliliters of cola a week.
But he's getting well-rounded meals, even though some of it's slop and slurry. Like, he's getting well-rounded meals.
But when he said that, like, they thought he was getting out.
The only difference is that he's forced to go outside for an hour a day to go get some sun.
Like, you said his meal is probably, like, slop and bread. But when they asked him, like, what's your meal when you want to get out, Brendan? He's like, curly fries and a hamburger. It's like, come on, Brendan. Jesus.
Come on.
Fuck, dude.
I can understand.
Like,
I could, that resonated with me. That definitely resonated with me.
Fucking Brendan, come on, man.
Can have anything.
You can have anything.
Anything in the world.
You have
craft dinner and hot dogs.
Fucking Brendan. Skylar, what about you?
Your question
prison
was, are you better
Manitowoc?
off in prison? Yeah. I think you're better off in prison.
I'll say
you'll live longer.
The biggest mistake Stephen Avery made was staying in Manitowoc County.
Oh, after the first.
After he got out for the rape.
Yeah. I agree.
After that was like, why did you stay, dude?
Yeah.
Like,
I think
sue them all you want, but you don't have to stay there.
He realized that, though, because he said in season 2 that he just wants to get out and move out of state and start over. Yeah, and he had a little bit of a plan, like, and I'll get a little garage for my dad to fuck around with, and he realizes that 2 wrongs to make it right, I guess.
That was the, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, I'd take freedom in Manitowoc County over prison, but I mean, like...
It's questionable, and that's scary.
I know, there better be internet, is all I'm saying.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. I guess my question will just be: do you think they're gonna get acquitted?
I do.
Will they get released?
I don't. I think the only way they're getting acquitted is if some new magical evidence presents itself, and that's only going to happen if the police release something that they've had this whole time, which we know they're not going to do because they probably never collected it in the first place, or someone within the Avery family confesses that's like, okay, it was actually stepdad Scott or somebody, like someone. It's someone in that fucking compound.
I think that chick.
The mom.
The mom?
I think that chick.
The mom? Who's the chick?
No, the fucking outlaw Josie Wales.
Oh, the
Clint
teeth
Eastwood.
chicker. Yeah. The chick
fucking,
with the teeth.
I think Josie Wales is gonna fucking
crack it open.
is gonna crack it open, and put Scott and Bobby on blast, man. Like she's gonna ruin their lives.
That's the other thing, though, is that she doesn't necessarily have to prove that Bobby and Scott did it. She just has to prove reasonable doubt. It's up to the state to then prosecute Bobby and Scott.
Yeah, totally.
Right? So, I think that's where, I don't know. The optimist
she's going to poke holes in it enough that they get acquitted. That's my...
Yeah. The optimist in me says that they'll get out, but I feel like I kind of said earlier, it's like Manitowoc is so dick deep into this lie right now that you can't really go back on it. And I also feel like Stephen Avery is a bit of a dick that we don't get the whole Stephen Avery. Because even like when it was like early on in the series, they said like, oh, and then he got a new judge, and it's like, oh, sick, this is awesome. But then it's like, but actually, like that judge he has now, like he sent, messages to her because he was pissed at her.
To her.
Yeah, no, there was something there. Remember about. I think it was
snaps.
about the sexual assault case. Like, a bunch of butthole snaps.
But send her a bunch of cum in an envelope. Like, check this.
Yeah.
You want to see something flaky?
Yeah. Rough. But that was just a weird moment there where it's like, dude, like, just take a chill pill and don't send every judge in Manitowoc like threatening letters and I think that's part of it. It's like if you want these people to come around on the fact that they've completely fucked you over, you being a dick about it is not gonna really help the situation.
It's not helping, no.
The bigger the dick you are, the more they're gonna be reluctant to overturn anything.
Oh, for sure.
Mike, do you have any questions?
Well, my question is basically, which shoes would you rather fill? Would it rather be Brandon or Steven? As far as like your the likelihood of you being let off. I guess that's kind of a shitty question because Brandon's exhausted his appeals, but who would you rather? Whose shoes would you rather be?
I think I gotta agree that's a shitty question, and I think you'd want to be in Steven's shoes right now. Like Brandon's fucked.
Yeah.
The only way Brandon gets off is if they can acquit Steven. Yeah. And like RJ said earlier, I think because they doubled down on that confession, it's gonna stick around. So they really, really just they need that DNA.
Yeah, but Brandon has the potential to get out of jail
that they don't have.
Right?
He's like almost halfway through the sentence.
Like Brandon could get out in 2049.
Yeah, he's almost halfway there. Like
yeah,
he'll probably live long.
Yeah. He'll live long. Well, I don't know. It's
live
prison.
Longer in prison than in Manitowoc County.
Of course. His mom looks pretty hard up for like some vitamin D.
Yeah.
Well, my original question was, would you rather fuck Brandon's mom or outlaw Josie Wales? Like, that was going to be my original question.
Josie Wales is definitely way older, but she looks younger. Like, she doesn't have that Manitowoc, like, grayness.
Yeah, gristly.
The gristle.
Looking.
Like,
I
the
just
bacon
think,
fat.
Like, the cleanliness of Catherine is her name.
Josie Wales,
She's probably a classy girl.
Josie Wales.
Josie Wales.
She would, you'd probably be making sweet love on white velvet candles.
Yeah, and she looks like she's got fake tits.
Yeah.
Or she's got nice, old lady tits.
Or Barb. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I think I was making this up too, but I'm pretty sure Scott at one point was wearing some weird fucking, like, like, I don't know. The only time I've ever seen the same harness was I remember one time watching this, like, TLC story about this little dwarf boy that had his heart, when he was birthed, he had the heart was a on the outside of his chest.
Yep.
So they had to build him this like chest protector so he could just go be a normal kid, because like if he fell on his chest he'd fucking
And he was
kill
wearing
himself.
one?
I'm
Scott
pretty
was
sure
wearing
he
one?
was wearing one.
I
in
think
the
I know what
sh-
you're talking about. I think he was sitting backwards in a chair like cool kids do.
I thought he was too, but it was like straps over his shoulders.
I do remember that.
Yeah, I
cool
know what you're
kid's
talking
chair
about.
backwards.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it was like a fucking back catcher's like get up, but like
Yeah,
solid
totally.
plastic.
Okay, so I have
And
a
it's like-
second question. Do you think you could create or commit a rape and murder of a auto trader photographer wearing one of those chest protectors, holding your
More
heart
likely.
in your chest?
Way more likely.
Well,
Way
you
more
wouldn't
likely.
be sweating.
He has no
all
heart.
over.
He has no soul.
Yeah, he's got no soul, so I think you've answered it. No heart. No, I think he just helped out. I think he helped
for Bobby.
gather the blood and
But
stuff.
that's a pretty like wild move for him to like
It's a stretch.
help
It's a
Bobby,
stretch.
but then like not help Brandon at all.
Well, they say.
See, but
well,
no,
they
because
say.
he
What
would've
they said
helped
is that
Bobby
the cops.
and then-
The cops petitioned all the brothers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The cops
Brandon was
petitioned
the
all the
one-
brothers, and Brandon's the stupidest one, and he was just like, "Yeah, sure, I'll
Sure.
talk to you. You want to talk about WrestleMania?
John Cena might have helped.
Sure,
And, like,
yeah, shit,
I
yeah,
think
I
it's
gave him
sure,
a
plausible.
tombstone.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
plausible because like he would have helped Bobby, and then when they got questioned, Brandon, like you guys said, was an
Right.
idiot, and it's like, well, how the I can't help you, Brandon, when you've confessed to murder.
I can give you an alibi, Brandon, but if you just fucking threw yourself under the bus
Yeah.
completely on everything else and talking about knocking her teeth out and shaving her head before you tied her down and raped her, like
Yeah.
me
where did
saying
that
I
come
saw
from,
you
right?
Where did
driving
all
with
of
your
that
brother to
come
go
from?
hunting doesn't
Fuck.
help that much, fucking Brandon.
Either
Yeah.
it totally happened like that because they're fucking crazies, or he's just fucking mental. Like,
Yeah.
to make up a story so elaborate.
No, but then I think where that ties back into is the fact that I think that with Bobby looking all that weird shit on their computer, like how do you not know that Brandon wasn't involved in that as well?
Spit it out. You're all
No,
glitchy. I didn't hear any of that.
Crashing.
Yeah. Yeah, old lumpy tongue. Just
Yeah.
fucking, that's it. He's done.
You make a
He's
Brandon
done. Yeah.
Brandon Dassey's confessions easier to follow.
I'm sorry, my internet's so junk tonight. No, but like I don't even know what I was saying. Do you
You're
guys remember
bad.
what I
Is
was
your
saying?
roommate wasting the internet on fucking soap operas again?
Yeah, for sure she is.
Oh, Skylar,
She's-
I have to. Oh no, he's sending a heart emoticon. What the fuck does that mean?
What is going on here?
Skylar.
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone. He's gone
Yeah.
forever.
Do we have
Why
a
is he-
Ask an Expert this week?
Yeah,
I heard some rumblings.
we have. Before we get to
Can you hear
our
me?
new
Can you hear-
feature, Skylar, I have to give
Yeah.
you like a story that both of you guys will appreciate. I was just talking with Stu, maybe an hour ago, recording my other new podcast called Dudes on Dudes.
Yeah.
And he was raving about the wedding on the weekend, and he said the highlight of the night, like for the viewers that don't overlap, Stu talks like he's
Yeah.
a surfer from California, even though he's not at all.
Yeah.
The highlight of the night was seeing Skylar and his roommate lighting the dance floor up. I fucking lost it.
Nice. Yeah, you guys look sharp as fuck.
But him just referring
Oh,
to
wait.
her as your roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Fucking Skylar and his roommate?
Oh, he said
Yeah.
he said his roommate.
Skylar
Oh,
and his roommate were just dancing the floor up. Fucking
Oh no, you know what? It
awesome.
was me and Stu have like turned into these like wedding buddies where we always just end up at the same weddings and hang out. Like he was on the same shuttle bus going to the venue as we were, so it is really fun. It was cool to see him.
Yeah,
but
he's-
he was. He's
He's-
got a lot of positive remarks about
He's a
the
good
old
dude.
podcast, and everyone loving that the roommate is a character on the show as the roommate.
Yeah.
Speaking of the podcast, though, we have a new feature we've been trying to get off the ground because we're like really bad at it. Where we've been running the table doing the Ask an Expert for almost every episode now, but we want viewers to send in questions. They could be about last week's episode, just general life questions. But every week we want to answer a viewer's email and go around the horn. And this week we actually got one.
Nice.
So for future episodes,
this week,
please, before you get to it, so viewers at home, the email address is pretty much email@gmail.com, subject line, ask an expert. And
this is where we put it up right here.
yeah, we'll throw it up in the cool video. But pretty much email@gmail.com, subject line, ask an expert. And Skylar, take it away. Our first ever question.
All right, our first ever Ask an Expert this week is coming hot from us out of Sudbury.
Nice.
From Dennis.
Nice.
Wow.
Dennis.
Dennis.
Dennis wants to know. Thanks, Dennis, for writing in. First off,
Yeah.
but Dennis wants to know, how come an ant can fall from like 6 feet and survive, but if a human fell from like 2 meters, they would die?
Ooh.
I could definitely
Ants-
fall from 2
ants.
meters and not die. For one, Dennis. Go back
Yeah,
to sleep.
It
let's
is
put
possible.
it into perspective, Dennis. 6 feet to an ant is like falling from space to us.
Because I'm
Yeah,
pretty
right.
sure like
2
6
meters.
feet is 2 meters.
Yeah.
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 What?
2 meters is not
Yeah,
far.
it is. Yeah.
60
yeah.
inches, yeah. Yeah.
Dennis, like I'm not
But
gonna
relative
like
to an ant's size.
I'm not gonna wipe my butt with Sudbury, Ontario, but Sudbury is the Manitowoc of Ontario, Canada.
It's pretty close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's either that or Penetanguishene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Port Dover
Why don't you
maybe.
do us all a favor? Go down in that mine and fucking not talk to anybody,
Go-
Dennis.
I would
But
say
I would-
my best guess is because ants have huge balls. Huge balls. Just massive
give
in
a
comparison. And they absorb all of the impact.
They got all those extra legs and
capable.
shit too, that they could like break one and not even notice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Between the balls and all the extra legs, they're just absorbing.
Yep.
I also
That
feel
fall.
like here it comes. This is like the nerdier answer
Here we go.
of them all.
The expert.
Pretty sure an ant has what they refer to as an exoskeleton.
Mm.
So it
Nope,
doesn't
not
have
true.
a
Not true.
That's true. It's absolutely true.
They have a bony innard.
They don't have bones.
Yeah, that's what its technical term is, bony innard. So if you're going to say
Bony
anything more,
innards. Okay, you're right. Yeah, they don't got
Please
bony
use
innards
that.
like we do. So I think as long as you don't crack that outer shell, they're fine. But like for us
Yeah.
humans, like if we fucking fall, crack our skull and our skull punctures our brain. Like that's it. If you fall,
Calm.
break a rib, and the rib goes into your heart, you're probably fucked.
Well, how come like our bones aren't
yeah.
made of ant skin then?
I don't know.
'Cause-
Ask God.
Well, let's
Less
ask fucking
evolved.
Dennis from Sudbury.
yeah, Dennis,
Goddamn
what-
ant expert.
please write us back.
Dennis, please write us
How
back.
come we
Yeah.
can't have bones as thick as ant skin? Like we'd be like legit. Have a meaty outside and then a exoskeleton inside. Fucking
I've got a meaty
some
outside.
ant bones.
Yeah. We got some girth to me.
Yeah.
Put some weight on it.
Yeah. Well, I hope that answers your
Yeah,
question.
thanks, Dennis.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis.
If anyone
Piece
else
of
has a
shit.
question, please pretty much email at
Yeah,
gmail.com.
feel free to email us.
Subject line, ask an expert. And we'll do our best
Yeah,
to go
please.
answer it and solve your riddle question, whatever the fuck that
Anything.
was. Your basic
Yeah,
math,
literally
Yeah.
anything.
your basic metric
Yeah, just-
system dilemma.
Yeah, whatever you need.
Yeah, we got your backs, everybody.
You got a
Um,
question about carpentry? You know?
anything.
Don't ask.
Anything. We got
Don't ask.
it. Don't ask.
Don't ask about that. We just struggled over what 2 meters was. That's 6 feet? I don't know.
Okay, boys, let's wrap this one
200
up.
point.
inches.
We're still not in agreement on this whole making a murderer debacle. It's a complete mess.
He's innocent.
Both those two
Free
are
him.
going to basically rot in jail forever because no one can make heads or tails of this case. Season 2 of that show
see.
sucked, but maybe Season 3 they'll actually present some new facts, not just recap Season 1.
they better get, if they don't get freed in season 3, like there's no sense in making a season 3.
Right.
I don't think. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need to complete the trilogy.
We need
You
to
know?
complete the trilogy for sure.
Either they get retried and they're in jail for life, or they get let out.
Or just give them
For
the
double
like
life.
electric chair or something. Like give me an ending. I don't want to see another season 2. Either way.
Want to see him fry like some
And
bacon.
you know
yeah.
what? Like, fucking let Brandon see some WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, let
That's
the boy
all.
live.
That's all
right?
I want. Like, okay, keep him in jail, but like, let's just have like a little cool understanding. Like, maybe he and 3 of his closest bunkmates just get to go watch WrestleMania every year.
Or John Cena can go
Yeah.
visit him.
It's one day a year.
Yeah, come on, John.
Come on, John
You're better
Cena.
than that.
Come
None
on.
of this you can't see me shit.
Yeah.
Let's see you.
Let's see.
Nut up.
Let's see you go to Manitowoc County
Yeah.
and say
Yeah.
hi to
Yeah, I
Brandon.
hear you're not going to Saudi
He
Arabia.
did not go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, he didn't go to Saudi Arabia. You better fucking go to Manitowoc.
All right, boys, let's wrap this up. We're pretty much experts, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Frontline Fiesta.
Frontline Fiesta. Oh, shit, we didn't talk about Frontline Fiesta. Frontline
Not
Fiesta, our favorite punk band from Toronto that gives us an awesome intro and outro, which we'll play right after this. We love you, Frontline Fiesta. Support them on
now.
Bandcamp. See you guys next week.
Fuck
Bye.
you, Dennis.
Very encouraging. Very encouraging. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in this week. We are Pretty Much Experts. You can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube. While you're at it, go have a look at our Facebook page. You can ask an expert any time of day or night, whatever you like. And if you're into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We want to hear from you, baby. Thanks again, everybody. Tune in next week. We are Pretty Much Experts, and we love you, I guess.